Yeah, I don't know. I went through, when we're all friends here, I went through a breakup last, well, gosh, I don't know, you know? Well, because the heart doesn't break like once cleanly, right? And because of that, it disrupts our relationship with the like origin point of this breaking, which is good, I think, but also not. Decidedly not. But I think I went through a breakup in August. At the time, I was. Have you ever gone through a breakup and you just stay up at night like Googling shit? I don't know how to word this.
It's very relatable.
This is maybe the second time I've said that out loud, and I feel like both times I don't know how to word it either way. Not like Googling shit like how do I stop being sad, just like Googling anything. One night I was just like walking around Googling stuff about the Titanic. The science behind the Titanic sinking is kind of like fascinating, but there's also this like emotional science, or this, I don't know, where there's a theory or a thought that there are people aboard the Titanic who died simply because they refused to believe the ship was sinking. Like even as the ship was sinking, they were like, which I think we actually see that play itself out in American society all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe not as immediate though. Like I feel like if a ship was sinking, I'd be like, okay, well, I give in. It's actually happening. But there's this train of thought where it's like there were a lot of people on the ship who would have survived had they believed the ship was sinking. And I was like, oh no. But oh yes. Anyway, here's a poem. It's like a half poem. I'm not really beholden to genre, so I guess we'll call it whatever it is. It's a lot of words. But it's half taken from that night of Googling, half taken from a very uncomfortable interview that I did. Like immediately. Yeah, anyway. The first line of this is the title. In all of my dreams, the words I love you sound like they are being spoken underwater. The interviewer asks if I have come to any new conclusions about the Titanic. I think dying afraid is treason against your lone, cherished life. A disaster of terrible hours masked by occasional miracle, but I'm speaking for myself, I say. I want time to fall in love with my endings before I take their hand. A halo of orange stains my cheek, a smattering of lipstick before a door closes and never opens again. I look up and it is dark before I can ask forgiveness for not loving the occasional miracle of light. At the dawn of dying, a man told me it wasn't the entirety of his living that flashed before him, only the softest, prettiest moment on an endless loop in every dream. And he said to wake up from that each morning and still be here was another kind of death. The interviewer asked if I know how to swim. I cannot see the water from where I live, so I don't believe it can touch me. The story is, there were people aboard the ship who would have survived if they believed the ship was sinking, invincible beings on an invincible vessel. But I asked, who is in charge of setting the distance between knowing you will die and not wanting to? From far enough out, it is impossible to tell where the sky ends and the water begins, a child might say, a finger hanging over the sand-struck edge of the world. And what strange architecture, the illusion between heavens. Darkness mothers darkness, which mothers myth. Any good executioner knows this. An iceberg finds paradise in the yawning black, its bladed edges looking, perhaps, from afar, like stars strung across another doorway to another unromantic night. The interviewer asked if I know how to swim. I love the thrill of waking from a nightmare, evicted from the hell of my mind's own making, and thrown back, gasping into a moment of gratitude, thin as a thread that barricades a door between love and anguish. A half minute to praise the hauntings, the illusions that would rather me dead, but would you believe the bed is still empty, despite the good news? I apologize to the absence until I envy my dead pal, who died a new death each morning when he was torn from his long-gone beloved, who, in his dream, danced with him in their first house and sang, "Darling, you send me, I know you send me," into his ear. And I haven't loved anyone enough to want to run, screaming their name through God's hallways. I haven't loved anyone who visits me while I sleep and die again. The interviewer has my hand in their hand now, and they ask me if I like to learn. They tell me it's only as cold as I imagine it to be. I'm sorry, I'm always doing this. We began somewhere else. I know we are here to talk about drowning, but what if we never find each other in the afterlife? If we arrive with only a memory of love, a sweetness that took its leave upon our earthly exit? What if, even in heaven, we are meant to wander, lonely as an iceberg floating between a lie and the truth? Wouldn't you want to stay a little longer? The child standing on the shoreline understands this. Means to say, there's no difference between the suffering, heaven, another kind of drowning. I would be among those who were called disbelievers. I would find a place to watch the sky while the ship curled upwards like a wicked grin. I need a moment to fall in love with my endings. I know it will be over soon. Forgive me for holding on. I am too afraid there is nothing on the other side. God fashions a door and you spend eternity walking through only to find another door. God invents an echo of longing for all of us in the end. The interviewer asks if I know the flowers I've been holding are dead. When I look down, I wake up. A parade of rose petals spiral from under my tongue, each one covered in ice.